The swarm under my skin. I remember the day I returned home, the air thick with resentment and dread, my family's voices still echoing in my head. They'd laughed at me, pointed fingers and rolled eyes when I dared to speak of the flesh-eating insect unknown to science. My father had laughed hardest, his booming voice mocking me, asking if I had lost my mind chasing phantoms. "What a disgrace," he'd said. "A parasite researcher. You'll end up in an asylum, you know that?" And yet, here I stood, a decade later, armed with knowledge and a darkness that twisted in my gut. They thought they'd ridiculed me to madness, but I had become a vessel for the unthinkable. I had survived what they could not even fathom, and their laughter felt like a distant memory, one I was ready to awaken with a chilling truth. The house looked untouched, a frozen moment in time, the peeling paint on the porch, whispering tales of neglect and disdain. I stepped inside, my heart racing as I recalled the faces that had once framed their disgust towards me. The air felt heavier, almost sticky, as if the house itself remembered my shame. "Look who decided to crawl back." My sister's voice sliced through the stale silence, laced with a scorn that twisted my stomach. I had expected hostility, but I'd also hoped for curiosity, perhaps a flicker of redemption. Instead, I was met with cold stares that pierced through me like barbed wire. I started, but my voice fell flat against their disdain. My mother's face contorted in disgust, eyebrows knitting together as if I had sullied the family name with every breath. "It's too late for apologies," she spat. "You're just the same delusional child we sent away. You bring shame." Their words dripped with venom, yet they felt distant. I had faced horrors that made their judgment insignificant, and I needed them to understand. I had come back not just to confront them, but to show them the truth I'd unearthed, the knowledge I had clawed and scraped for, the very darkness that clung to my skin like a second layer. "Listen to me," I urged, desperation creeping into my voice. "I've discovered something monstrous. Something—" I hesitated, the words clawing at my throat. "Something that's spreading. You need to see this." But they brushed me off, rolling their eyes and scoffing as if my desperate warning was nothing but a childish tantrum. I felt the rage bubbling within me, the years of ridicule igniting a fire I thought I had extinguished. I had ventured into the depths of human folly, all the while they lived in blissful ignorance. As twilight descended, a piercing shriek echoed from the backyard, halting our conversation. My family stood frozen, eyes wide, fear etched onto their faces. I felt a dark thrill bubble within me. This was the moment I had long anticipated, where the world they thought was safe began to unravel. "They're here," I whispered, my voice low and tinged with satisfaction. "The parasites." "What are you talking about?" My father's bravado faltered as he took a hesitant step back. And then we heard it, the sound of scratching, a rustling from the shadows, followed by a low hum that thrummed through the air like an ominous heartbeat. My family's expressions shifted from disbelief to dawning horror as the swarm emerged, a writhing mass of chitin and flesh glistening like oil in the fading light. "It can't be." My brother's voice trembled with panic as he stumbled backward, crashing into the doorframe. I took a step forward, the fear in their eyes igniting something primal within me. "You didn't believe me," I said, my voice low and steady. "You mocked me. Now you'll witness the truth." The swarm surged, a cacophony of noise and movement as the creatures flew towards us, small yet vicious, their tiny bodies glimmering with malevolence. My family screamed, their cries piercing the night as they stumbled backward, entrapped by the very horror they had deemed absurd. "It's not just a bug," I shouted above the chaos, my heart racing with exhilaration as I watched the unfolding calamity. "These parasites can control their hosts. They seep into the mind. They'll make you their puppet." I had become what they feared most, the embodiment of the truth they refused to acknowledge. Their screams echoed in my ears like a symphony of vindication, each note a reminder of the years spent in exile from their ridicule. Amid the chaos, I felt the familiar weight of dread settle on my shoulders. I had delved into the darkness and emerged, yet it was a darkness that now surrounded my family, suffocating them in their disbelief. They were witnessing firsthand the very thing they had laughed at, and I couldn't help but feel a twisted sense of satisfaction. As the swarm engulfed them, I turned away, the faces of my family distorted by fear and desperation. I stepped back, wanting to embrace the shadows that had become my companions. Their cries faded into a haunting echo, a bitter reminder of the cost of their ridicule. I had wanted them to see, to understand the truth of my obsession. But as I walked away, I realized that some truths are too horrifying for the uninitiated. I had achieved what they called insanity, but it was now etched into their minds. The weight of their disbelief would forever haunt them, a chilling legacy of a horror they could no longer ignore. The night closed in around me, the swarm buzzing in the distance like a haunting lullaby. I had returned home, and as I moved further into the dark embrace of the forest, I knew I would never look back. I was no longer a disgrace. I was a vessel of the hidden, the bringer of the damned. The swarm under my skin thrived, and in its presence I had found my home.